Science fiction became a prominent genre of fiction throughout the 20th and 21st centuries, and it's not surprising that more art forms than just literature and film have been heavily influenced by science fiction. As all art forms do, music comes to represent the culture and the society in which it is created, and in an ever-modernizing society, the ideas of futurism and abstract realities have influenced the artistic output of many modern musicians. Beyond the traditional synths and theremins that occupy sci-fi soundtracks, amazing orchestral pieces have come to be associated with science fiction epics, mainly due to the influence of modern films like Star Wars. Sci-fi epics have come to influence the music of science fiction. More importantly, science fiction has come to influence music, starting with artists like Sun Ra. Sun Ra was born with the name Herman Blount, but he decided to change it to his better-known stage name after he claimed to have been transported to Saturn by a hovering bright light. On Saturn, Ra claims to have spoken with aliens that told him to leave school and to speak to the world through music. Ra's claims are more than likely a narrative he created to help craft a strange science fiction type atmosphere around his art, and not something he believed truly happened. Ra's friends remember him first telling the story in 1952, making it one of the first stories of alien UFO abduction in modern pop culture. Ra would go on to be a very important influential figure in the jazz scene, with his influences on modern jazz being cited as free improvisation and modal jazz. The influence that science fiction played on Ra's artistic output is clear through his flamboyant appearance, which resembles an Egyptian pharaoh crossed with a spaceman. Most of Sun Ra's albums' names could easily be the title of a sci-fi film, with titles like The Nubonians of Plutonia, Interstellar Lowways, Art Forms of Dimensions, Tomorrow, and Space is the Place are just a few. A musician that was heavily influenced by science fiction that would be more well-known to modern audiences would be David Bowie and his alter ego character of Ziggy Stardust. Bowie created the character in the early 70s, feeling the inspiration of rockabilly musician Vince Taylor, songs about UFOs, and kabuki theater. Bowie used Ziggy Stardust mainly in his album The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, and within he told the story of Ziggy, a messiah-like figure who comes to warn humanity that they have just a few years to live if they continue to devour resources at their current rate. This concept of an extraterrestrial being of seemingly elevated consciousness coming to Earth and warning humanity that their hubris will end is nothing new to the sci-fi genre, and puts the story of Ziggy Stardust along with those of Frank Herbert's Dune and The Day the Earth Stood Still, just to name a few. Gwar, a band that's popularity rose out of their absurd alien costumes and their violent stagecraft that accompanied their metal shows, gained popularity in the 80s and 90s. And while other artists like Alice Cooper had brought the tricks of the theater to rock shows before, Gwar decided to take this to astronomical levels, with each member of the band wearing elaborate costumes that resemble a cross between gladiators, Mad Max, and some cheap Star Trek aliens. Gwar's absurd stage shows and strange continuity and mythos have brought together a very loyal fan base that few other bands have achieved. The band has had over 30 years of success and no longer has any of its original members, but continues to tour with large, elaborate stage props and plenty of costumes. While there are thousands of other examples of science fiction's influences on modern music, just a few that are left unmentioned are Black Sabbath's song Iron Man, H.P. Lovecraft's influence on modern metal, and the Flaming Lips album Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots. With Sun Ra bringing Afrofuturism and stories of UFOs to music, he paved the way for more flamboyant artists like David Bowie and just plain strange artists like Gwar to let their science fiction love influence music like few others. Today, the influence of science fiction and music can be heard readily across the electronic music, psychedelic rock, and plenty of other genres that are willing to dip into the cosmos. That's it. Thank you.